It's Monday, September 6, 2010. In this week's Beaker Beat, no means no, at least for now. But how long can one drug maker fight off the advances of another? Plus, usually the expression, "I can see right through you," is a disparaging remark, but the FDA doesn't think so. And a traditional football power sacks drug and device makers, kicking them to the curb. All that and more in this week's edition of Beaker Beat.
Has the ball, hands it off. He's hit at the goal line. I don't believe he got in. I don't believe he's in there. The 49ers have held, and listen to the Niners crowd across the way.
Hello everyone, welcome to this week's edition of Beaker Beat. I'm Mike Justice. It is football season, and that means football teams are on the gridiron, the frozen tundra if you will, which is redundant. But anyway, they're trying to strong-arm their opponents to bend to their will. Sanofi-Aventis and Genzyme are also in one of those titanic struggles. Genzyme has rejected Sanofi-Aventis' $18.5 billion buyout offer. In a letter to Sanofi's CEO Chris Viehbacher, Genzyme Chief Executive Henry Termeer says that the $69 a share offer, quote, provides no new information and no improvement in price and therefore fails to establish a basis for engagement by the Genzyme board. In other words, it's the same as last time, nothing new here, so again, no thanks. Termeer added to the Wall Street Journal, quote, at $69, the company is not for sale. This action may be the last friendly attempt by Sanofi to acquire Genzyme. From here it could get ugly and drag out over a long period of time. The feeling from analysts, however, is that it will be hard for Genzyme to hold off Sanofi when the offer is worth about 30% more than the current share price. And if Sanofi sweetens the pot just enough, like to the $75 to $77 range, like many predict, it may be the right price to get shareholders and the board to sell. Stay tuned for updates. So tell us what you think about this story or any story that you see here in today's show. It's very simple. Click on the orange button below me. A box will pop up. Type in your comment. I promise I'll read and respond to every one of them. We do want to hear from you. And when you're done watching Beaker Beat, check out Beaker's blog where we discuss a newly released list of the 100 most powerful people in healthcare. See how many people from the life sciences biz made the cut. The answer will shock you. And view clips from 2 soon-to-be-released films based on the pharma industry. All that and more on Beaker's blog.
Personal foul, 69. Offense. He was giving them the business. He played it there.
All right, Jeremy, since you're messing around with the camera, you're too busy, I brought in Lila to play toss with me. She's wearing the Huskers cap. Good job. Want to go for a pass?
Yeah.
Okay, go. Go long. Keep going. That'll keep her busy. Okay. Controversy is on the horizon for Abbott Labs' Meridia pill, and not in the fun Terrell Owens kind of way. With just 2 weeks to go before an FDA advisory panel meets to consider the drug's safety, a bombshell from one of the most respected medical publications hits Meridia square in the head. The New England Journal of Medicine editors have called for the drug to be pulled from the market after final data from a long-term 10,000-patient study found Meridia increases the risk of heart attack and stroke. And oh, by the way, doesn't seem to be very good at spurring weight loss. Patients on Meridia lost a mere 5 pounds more on average compared to placebo patients. Not a big difference, particularly when the risk of non-fatal heart attack and stroke jumps 28% and 36% respectively. The study authors and Abbott itself say the Meridia patients who suffered heart attacks and strokes had pre-existing heart trouble and as such shouldn't have been taking the medicine at all. But common sense tells me that if you're overweight and need to lose weight and use this drug, chances are you may have a heart problem. Keep going! She'll sleep well tonight. Johnson & Johnson's being warned again. This time around, the FDA says J&J unit DePuy Orthopedics marketed 2 products illegally. J&J's advertising brochure touts 2 unapproved uses of the Corail hip system, while the other product, the TrueMatch Personalized Solution System, isn't even approved at all. This all comes on the heels of a contact lens recall last week in certain overseas markets. So the question remains, with 11 recalls over the past year, will J&J chief Bill Weldon keep his job? Apparently so. The Wall Street Journal reports that J&J's board probably will ask the 61-year-old Weldon to stick around and fix the company's problems. And if that's the case, Weldon would reportedly do so. Weldon tells the Associated Press he's determined to reform his company's manufacturing supply chain. Getting the recalled consumer drugs back into stores is job 1, he says. In my humble opinion, job 1 might be to stop the warnings and recalls.
Back to throw, under pressure, avoids the rush, and he's gonna fight out of it, still fights out of it, now throws it deep downfield, wide open Tyree, who makes the catch!
I was just kidding last time. You catch that one. Oh, nicely done. Throw it to me. Good job. Time for some quick hits now, and another big pharma giant is paying through the nose for being naughty. Good catch. The Department of Justice announced a $600 million settlement with Allergan. The drug maker agreed to plead guilty to a misdemeanor and pay a $375 million fine and $225 million in civil penalties. This comes after Allergan got busted for pushing Botox for off-label uses such as headache, pain, and cerebral palsy treatment. Good news, bad news on the job front. First, the good. The bleeding of pharma jobs slowed to a trickle last month. Pharma job losses were in the thousands for several months, but layoffs plunged to just 255 in August. That's the lowest total of any month this year. The total number of positions eliminated stands at 37,265. That slowdown may not last, however. Swiss newspaper Sontag is reporting that Roche is preparing a global job-cutting plan with potentially massive cuts across the company's pharma division, and that a decision is expected sometime soon. As for an announcement of these plans, Roche itself tells Reuters that no layoff news is on the immediate horizon. Orexigen hopes to get fat and happy from its new deal on its weight loss drug Contrave. The company took $50 million upfront from Japan's Takeda with more than $1 billion in potential milestones. Takeda gets North American marketing rights on the therapy, which is about 4 months away from FDA approval. Seattle is famous for coffee, but soon could be known as a cancer drug hub, as the life sciences community there may have yet another big hit on its hands. On the heels of Dendreon's FDA product approval and stunning growth, another company, Seattle Genetics, or CGen as the locals call it, will soon release results from 2 important trials. The first is for an experimental leukemia treatment, followed within weeks by results from 2 trials of their lead drug candidate for lymphoma. Wall Street expects success for the lymphoma drug, but positive results for the leukemia treatment could turn 2010 into a landmark year for the 13-year-old biotech company. Seattle Genetics plans to file for FDA approval of both drugs early next year. A federal court has refused the Sanofi-Aventis motion to block generic versions of its blood thinner Lovenix from entering the market. Sanofi is in the middle of suing the FDA, leading the court to not intervene on the matter. Sanofi said it would continue pressing its case, noting that the suit, quote, poses a number of significant questions regarding the FDA review process. Eli Lilly got a court win this week. The company won a court order extending the ban on generic versions of the attention deficit treatment Strattera while it appeals a patent ruling. An experimental personalized cancer therapy from Roche and Plexicon registered impressive results in a recent clinical study. 69% in one group and 81% in another saw a positive response. The therapy successfully shrank the tumors in a majority of metastatic melanoma patients who share a common genetic mutation. The downside, patients in the group who did not have the genetic mutation all saw their cancers progress. The Centers for Disease Control in Atlanta is spending $2 billion to improve vaccine technology. The big goal is to cut the time between development and production of a new vaccine. The government wants to develop new tools to optimize the strains identified for making a vaccine, a key bottleneck that slowed scientists involved in the round-the-clock effort to make a new swine flu vaccine last year. Plus, they want a new approach to identify the correct amount of antigen in a vaccine, another problem that emerged in the recent pandemic.
Jacksonville, they trail 13-0. The screen is intercepted. Big Keith Trailer. Look at him rumble. 40, 50. Watch out. The earth is shaking. He's at the 30. He's at the 20. He won't give it up. Oh, my.
Oh, picked it off in your face, in your face, in your face. PerkinElmer has agreed to sell its illumination and detection solutions business to PE firm Veritas Capital Fund 3 for $500 million in cash. The 3,000-employee unit, which includes 14 manufacturing facilities, provides goods that service various health, environmental, and security segments. The business is expected to generate $300 million in revenue. Bayer Healthcare's dermatology unit, Intendis, has inked a deal with Los Angeles-based Kythera Biopharmaceuticals. The $373 million licensing deal includes rights to Kythera's lead product outside the U.S. and Canada. Kythera gets $43 million up front and $330 million in milestones available. Blaming the economic slowdown and increased pricing pressures, Medtronic has reassessed its projected growth for fiscal year 2011. That spooked investors, sending the device company's stock down as much as 10%. The company reported first quarter revenue of just under $3.8 billion, slightly down from the $3.9 billion reported in the first quarter of fiscal year 2010. Net earnings were a healthy $830 million.
Schultz, just before Frizzell got him, and a leaping interception by Woodson, who got a foot down somehow.
Okay, Jeremy, stop pouting. It's like you went to Bowling Green or something. Anyway, college football season is here, thank goodness, and one of the traditional powers, the University of Michigan, just revealed its renovations of its stadium, the Big House, as you may or may not know. It took a lot of donations to get that done, but the school is no longer accepting donations of a different kind. The University of Michigan's medical school will be the first to refuse funding for its continuing education courses for doctors from drug and device makers. The move was made to reduce bias of outside interests from the presentation of medical information. The decision to drop commercial financing for postgraduate medical education could mean as much as $1 million drop in financing at UM. That's according to the New York Times. There had been some criticism of policies at schools across the country claiming they were too weak. Critics said they relied too heavily on researchers to self-disclose any potential financial conflicts of interest from consulting jobs or relationships with drug and device companies. So, unlike the athletic department, the medical school doesn't want to give the impression that they can be bought. Jeremy's happy I said that because he's an Ohio State fan. And keep your eyes open for the AdvaMed conference. It's in a few weeks. Beaker plans on being there. You can also check our website for an AdvaMed page with more information. That's it for this week's edition of BeakerBeat. I'm Mike Justice. Thanks for watching. Have fun this college football season and pro season. We'll see you next week. As for you, now it's your turn. Doesn't mean you're going to score. Sit, Beaker. Sit. Good dog. Oh, got you. I got you covered. Got you. Oh, jeez. Oh. Really? Hickey shuffle? Really? Suck, Jeremy.